All right, Peyton Manning here at Omaha Productions, one of our favorite people. That's an understatement. What's going on, man?
I'm doing good, Kevin. Thanks for having me, pal.
All right, let's start here. This is going to be an amazing weekend of football, an amazing month of football. And we got the Manning cast here. Obviously, Vikings and Rams on Monday from Arizona. Now, obviously, there's a
Yeah.
wrinkle there, but I want to talk about Sam Darnold and if there's a lesson that teams and everybody. I mean, unless you got a top 10 quarterback, everybody's looking for the Sam Darnold path, and it which is you get a bridge quarterback, you pay him $10 million, all of a sudden he's playing like an MVP candidate. Is there a lesson about patience, about quarterback development that you would take from the Sam Darnold experience, Peyton?
Yeah, there's definitely a lesson, but also I think it's not just guaranteed. I think a lot of the credit has to go to Sam
Yeah.
for his determination and kind of, what do they call it, stick to itiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, he has stayed the course. He's been in different systems, and that's not easy. Look, whether you're on your own team, the same team for 5 years, or you're on different teams, that's different offensive coordinators, different systems, different cultures. That's not easy. And Sam has just embraced it everywhere he's been. He's been a pro. He's picked up the system. I mean, in San Francisco last couple of years, you hear stories about him always being ready to step in, picking up the system, being a good wingman for the starting quarterback and Purdy. So a lot of credit goes to him. But yeah, there's definitely a lesson that just because it doesn't work out right away in the guy's first stop doesn't mean let's just write him off forever. But also, it's a little bit on the quarterback too to kind of stay with it and realize, hey, maybe my journey's not finished yet. There's another step for me. But it's been fun to see his success. He's played outstanding football. I was watching some film this week. I mean, he's made some big time throws in critical situations. And it's hard to believe you're 14-3 and have to go on the road.
Incredible.
Something doesn't seem right about that, but it's been fun to watch.
Other side is obviously Matthew Stafford, who's just still doing it. I don't know what else to say. He's still doing it. And McVay, what are you seeing from the Rams this year? Obviously, young defense that's coming along. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kim Kitchens, like a group of young guys that I think would be the envy of any defensive coordinator right now. What are you seeing from this Rams team, Peyton?
Yeah, they're active on defense. Les Snead's done a good job getting those guys, and they've sort of changed their philosophy a little bit going through the draft. And
actually
Sam does
drafting
not need
guys
to hold the ball. Yeah, exactly. Sam does not need to hold the ball for very long on Monday. 1, 2, 3, get it out of your hands because those guys are coming. Look, Stafford and McVay are they're finishing each other's sentences. They are just so dialed in. Look at both these play callers, Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay, are two of the tops in the league. Similar systems, but Stafford played really well in this Week 8 matchup versus the Vikings first time around. Great job by him. Great job by McVay, kind of keeping this thing together. This season could have gone the other way easily, and the fact that they won the division and are hosting a playoff game or playing in Arizona for playoff game says a lot about both of them.
Lions obviously get the 1 seed. You mentioned the Vikings having to play on the road as a 14 win team, but obviously the Lions are going to be able to play on Ford Field throughout the NFC playoffs. And I want to start here with Lions with Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, because I think this is a match made in play calling heaven. They just fit so well together. We'll see if Ben Johnson even wants to take a head coaching job because of how much he not only loves Jared Goff, but the relationship with Dan Campbell. Ben and I have talked about that in the past. Like, his motivation is to please Dan Campbell, and because Dan Campbell believed in him, and there's so much there. But just from a play calling standpoint, a football standpoint, why did Ben Johnson and Jared Goff fit so well together, Peyton?
Yeah, a big fan of Ben Johnson. A lot of respect for him last year.
Yeah,
turning down head coaching opportunities to remain an offensive coordinator at a good place. And my old coordinator Tom Moore, never was a head coach. He said it was my job to be the best assistant coach I was, the best coordinator. And I think that's a great philosophy for assistant coaches. Don't be on this fast speed climb to take the next step. Just lock into what you're doing right now and be the best at that. And those opportunities will come your way. And I think Ben Johnson is kind of that mode. Same thing. I mean, he's creative. He's doing things. I mean, that kind of little 5-yard under route they run where Amon-Ra, catches it and then does the hook and lateral to the receiver coming across. I mean, I've thrown 10,000 of those little under routes to Marvin Harrison or Reggie Wayne. And I never thought about, hey, maybe we should have a hook and lateral off that play. So I'm just impressed with the creativity. You could tell, look, he's not doing that if Jared Goff can't handle it, right? And so once again, play caller and quarterback, they've got to be just extremely tight, just kind of in lockstep with each other. And it's been fun to watch them the past couple of years. Look, I don't think it can be understated the fact that Jeff Daniels and I went to Ford Field and broke the Bobby Lane curse. Their record since then, it just speaks for itself. So Jeff Daniels deserves most of the credit. I mean, you got to give some to Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, but Jeff Daniels is really the reason for this Lions turnaround.
And listen, Jeff Daniels on Sunday Night Football the other day, just narrating the intro, like obviously, and that was another feather in their cap. So I would say Jeff Daniels, what, 70-80%? Would you guess 78% of the credit?
Yeah. I mean, look, Amon-Ra's played well. Goff's made some big throws. Aaron Glenn's done a good job, but I mean, what Daniels did, 2-3 years ago at Ford Field, holding Bobby Lane's helmet with a bathtub full of whiskey. For a Peyton's Places that probably 7 people watched. I just can't underestimate the significance of that.
Well, the football gods were watching. The football gods were a couple of the 7 there. Hey, I want to ask about another Daniels, Jayden Daniels, who obviously is having a ton of success. First, I want to get your thoughts on Jayden and just how he's been able to have this success.
He's been awesome. He and Kingsbury, once again, kind of an early connection. Sometimes it can take a minute for a quarterback and a coordinator to get on the same page. I think Washington was very adamant about drafting Jayden Daniels. Adam Peters used to be in Denver. I could just tell early on that is who they wanted. That's who they coveted. They got him. And you can just tell Jayden and Cliff kind of hit the ground running. I think the system just fit Jayden. You could tell he picked it up fast. He was playing fast, as a quarterback, Kevin, playing fast, not having to think about, okay, where is my second? I remember my rookie year, like I was just praying that the first read was going to be open because I wasn't sure where the second and third reads were. And that's a bad feeling as a quarterback. You can tell Jayden is just, he's got it. He knows it. And that's a credit to Kingsbury for creating a system that works for the quarterback. It's a credit to Jayden for studying and picking it up. And he is fun to watch. He's just as kind of calm and collected in the fourth quarter as he is in pregame warmups. And that's a great quality for a quarterback, especially a rookie.
The one thing that's interesting about Jayden to me, and every quarterback journey is different, but he's a guy, and I talked to his quarterback coach, Davita Pritchard, in preseason about this. He's a guy who played a ton of football and a ton of different offenses in 2 schools. And, the portals help some of these guys find, I guess, what you call their football destiny. But some of these guys, because they're playing so many reps, and COVID obviously gave them an extra year, but they're coming in so much more pro ready. And I'm curious what you think the blueprint is and how it's changed for a young quarterback, especially if they played 4 or 5 years. You see Cam Ward coming in, Bo Nix, Michael Penix. Like these guys are playing a lot of football, Peyton.
No, it helps. Bo Nix is a perfect example. It's not possible to play any more games than Bo Nix played in college, right? And he's in different systems at Auburn. He's in different systems at Oregon. And that just helps him, Kevin, when he comes in and picks up Sean Payton's offense. Think about all the reps that he had throwing a cover 2 seam at Auburn or a cover 2 seam at Oregon. And now he gets to the Broncos and he's just going to repeat those reps some more. I'm a big fan of experience being your best teacher, Kevin. It's just something to playing and getting the reps. And you see it working for Daniels, like you mentioned, Cam Ward. You just learn something every time you rep a play in practice, much less a game. I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about stability for young quarterbacks because I think everyone, you get the Jayden thing, but then it goes to year 2, it goes to year 3. And I guess the question is, if you could wave a wand and say, hey, this is how, and if Goodell called you and said, hey, we're gonna get you on a task force for developing young quarterbacks, what would you say to teams about stability, about play calling year over year? Like, how would you help that process along just from a stability standpoint, Peyton?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, there's always arguments at whether you play right away or do you
Yeah.
sit, right? And how do you argue against Patrick Mahomes sitting for a year behind Alex Smith and then all of a sudden just going ahead and winning 3 Super Bowls after that? Look, I played right away, didn't play well, but we went 3-13 as a rookie and then went 13-3 my second year. There's no way
Yeah.
that happens if I don't play every game as a rookie. Eli, to me, kind of is sort of what I base my thoughts on, that he sat 10 games, his first 10 games as a
Yeah.
rookie, and then he played the last 6. And he just said what he learned in the 6 playing was night and day compared to what he learned on the sideline. So I still think getting in there playing is the best way to learn. But, look, Rodgers, Jordan Love, the Packers have had a good plan. It's just about developing him, coaching him hard, putting good people around him. All those things come into play. But you're exactly right. It's got to be an organizational plan. Okay. I mean, it bothers me that Bryce Young is already on his 3rd play caller,
Yeah.
and he's only played, 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is going to be
Yeah.
on his 3rd play caller sometime next September. And that to me, that's a miss, right? If we're going to draft this guy, okay, who's the head coach going to be? The coordinator. This is the system we're going to run. If the coordinator leaves and takes a head coaching job, I want the guy that's replacing him shadowing him 24/7. He's riding to work with him. He's eating breakfast with him. Maybe sleeps in the same room. It's kind of awkward with the coordinator's wife, whether she wants somebody laying on the floor. But I want them there the whole time, so that quarterback doesn't have to learn a new system every single year. I think Baker Mayfield had to learn 5 systems in 4 years. Alex Smith, 6 systems in 6 years. Like Tom Brady had the same system his whole career.
Yeah.
I had the same system my first 14 years in Indy. There's a reason that going back to those reps. And so, yes, you're exactly right. It's more than just, it's an organizational plan. What is the best way to develop this guy? Don't make him learn Latin, German, and French all in the first 2 years. That's not fair.
It's a great answer, and I obviously you're the expert on it, and I just think for some of these organizations, not all, because we had some. It's not like we're having some crisis of young quarterbacks. We obviously had some good ones, but some of these organizations, it's just an impossible situation they put these guys in, and it's brutal. And I feel for them. I always say geography is destiny in quarterback play. You go to a place where they know how to develop you. You're going to make a lot of money. If they don't, you might end up having to go to a couple different stops. So.
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right, so let's talk about 2 of the MVP candidates that everybody's talking about. I want to start with Lamar Jackson. And, it was funny. I had Steve Young on the show last year, and he said, everybody's killing Lamar Jackson for his performance in the playoff game. But if you look at it as year 1, again, we're talking about year 1 in the Todd Monken offense. What a huge success. He won an MVP. He put up his best numbers ever. He's only going to be better in year 2. That's what happened. His best statistical season. He's obviously going to have to go on the road for some of these games now, unlike last year, but it's obviously he's taken a little bit of a leap. What have you seen from Lamar Jackson in 2024, Peyton?
I mean, it's hard to, how does a 2-time MVP raise his game? But he has. And I think Todd Monken does a good job. I think Lamar and Todd are like I said, are both speaking the same language. You can tell that Monken's calling plays that Lamar really likes, and he's, look, he makes his Lamar plays where he runs and wows you, but he's throwing the ball on time a lot as well. And that to me says that he likes this play. The coordinator knows that he likes this play. And so that's what I like to see. His receivers are fighting for him. They're getting open for him. You can tell they believe in him. So, like I said, he can make the wow Lamar plays, but when I watch Lamar, I see him throwing it on time a lot. I see him being accurate. And, the Derrick Henry addition has been awesome for both of them, right? It takes pressure off the other guy, but he's been special this season for sure.
It reminds me another Steve Young line where he was talking about Mahomes and he was saying, everybody talks about Mahomes as Superman, but really his best traits are when he's Clark Kent and he's just doing on time, sitting in the pocket there. And for Lamar, I'm seeing a lot better Clark Kent this year.
I totally agree. I mean, like I said, at times when he can make his plays, you have to have it, but let's not make him do that first down and second down, right? 3rd and 20. If he wants to scramble and run for 25 yards, do that. But on first and second down, let's call some things to get it out of his hand and get it to their playmakers. And that's what the Ravens are doing.
Yeah. Josh Allen. Obviously, you're a big Josh Allen fan. To win the Super Bowl this year, Josh Allen has to do what, Peyton?
Look, I mean, I think they're going to have their hands full with the Broncos on Sunday. Broncos kind of have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
People didn't expect them to be in the playoffs. I think they'll go in there and play pretty free on Sunday against Buffalo. Look, Josh, I was kind of like Lamar. I hate it because both of them can't make it to the Super Bowl this year, and I feel like both of them deserve to go. And people are going to say about one of them, hey, they can't do it. Like, I mean, I lived that world, right? I mean, my first 8 years, that's what I lived, right? And I know Josh, hears that from time to time. Oh, he does these great things, but right. Well, I mean, I love for him to get rid of the but, and I love for him to get down to New Orleans, and obviously I'm Broncos biased.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm a quarterback defender first, and both he and Lamar deserve to, have that chance to play in the Super Bowl. Look, so does Jared Goff, so does Jalen Hurts, so does Mahomes, right? And until somebody goes in there and beats Mahomes, I think he's still kind of the favorite to get back. But Josh is doing all the right things. He plays with a great passion, right? He plays with that Brett Favre just love of football. I mean, he's smiling out there a lot. I'm kind of envious of that. I don't think I smiled that much when I play. I think he's truly having fun. His teammates have fun playing with him. So I'd say to kind of relax and kind of let it come to him. I know he wants to get there, but don't make you press and stress and force balls into coverage that you probably should throw away because you want it so bad. To kind of, sort of let it come to him. That'd be my advice to him.
I know you were kind of joking, but do you wish now looking back on it when we see someone like Josh having so much fun on the football field, did you wish you played a little more free, smiley, just a little more airy out there? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I was really, if our system sort of allowed me to do it. I felt like, I was watching Stafford versus the Vikings week 8, and the Vikings do a lot on defense, and you can't tell if they're bringing 8 guys or dropping 8 guys into coverage. I think Flores does a great job in their disguises. And I'm watching Stafford, and he's up there, and he's pointing, he's telling the back who to block. He's getting the protection set, and he's doing all these things before the snap, and they end up only rushing 3 guys. And he throws a touchdown on a post corner route. But it reminded me of like when I used to play against like the Ravens or the Rex Ryan. It was just exhausting to play about how many things you have to do before the ball is even snapped. And so that's kind of the system that I played. And I liked that. I wanted that on my plate. I wanted the responsibility to get us in the right protection. So I think when you do that, maybe the last thing you're thinking about is smiling. You're sort of thinking about, boy, I did a great job on that play, and we got 2 yards out of it, but it was a heck of a job getting us lined up in the right formation.
Two quick ones for you. I asked you this question last year. You had Kyle Shanahan. This year, Kyle's not in the playoffs. You can go back in time and play for any of these coaches in these playoffs. Peyton Manning, it's your career. You don't have any special skills or whatever. It's you. Who you going to play for if you can play for anybody in these playoffs right now?
I'm going with Kevin O'Connell, who I don't really know personally. Eli is talking to him on Saturday. I have McVay and Stafford this weekend. Eli has O'Connell and Sam Darnold. That's kind of our routine. I kind of sent Kevin O'Connell a cold text. I just said, I apologize. You're going to have to talk to Eli on Saturday. It's 10 minutes. You'll never get back. And I also sent him, Belichick and I did our breakdown show. It comes out today. at 2:30 Eastern. About eight
Great
people
show.
will watch that. 8 people will watch that show. Bill's in a coat and tie.
Nine.
Thank you. Bill's in a coat and tie. It's our last one. Bill dressed up big for this show. You know, I wore the same quarter zip that I wear every Monday night, but I sent it to O'Connell and I said, hey, this is 20 minutes. You'll never get back. I'm staring at me and Bill Belichick's hair, but I have a lot of respect for the way you coach. I just like how he does it. And I'm just an observer, right? And I think that moment when Darnold jumps into the locker room and they celebrate a couple weeks ago, he's just standing back watching. This kind of tells you everything you know about Kevin O'Connell, that, hey, it's about the players. It's about me putting them in a position to succeed. I'm just going to kind of sit back and watch this, but you see this kind of smile on his face. He's got no ego. I think he's a dynamic play caller. So I'm going with Kevin O'Connell, whether or not he watches the 20-minute breakdown show of the 20 minutes he'll never get back as well.
I mean, I think Monday is what's on the line is whichever coach watches breakdown wins the game.
I said it to both of them. It's probably not what ESPN Plus wants, because I'm sending them the free link. I'd love for them to subscribe, but they all seem to enjoy it. They all keep saying, hey, even my dad, I go, Dad, if you want to watch this, you got to get, an iTunes password. And he's like, what? He goes, just keep sending me the free link. And so that's probably costing us some subscribers for the Plus.
Well, hopefully this show will generate some more subscriptions together, and so it'll even out. All right, Peyton Manning, thank you so much, man. Good luck this weekend. Manningcast on Monday night, Vikings and Rams. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, buddy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.